Business Brain, episode 781. No.
80.
Yeah, let me do that again. I got to get the right thing in front of me. I had all the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Sadie, this will be it. I promise. It'll be real. Business Brain, episode 780 for Wednesday, August 19th, National Aviation Day, 2026. And hey, there's the song.
Hey,
I knew it would play.
Oh, there's my
there's music.
Oh, can't do that.
Aviation has always been an interest of mine. It's not fair to call it a hobby because I don't actively participate in it anymore. But, you know, it's
interesting. I love aviation. I'm not a huge fan of flying. I'm a huge fan of getting. Flying. I like to get there, but I'm not a huge fan of getting and sitting there and waiting. But
I don't like the sitting on a plane is no fun unless. Yeah. As my friend Pilot Pete, who's a co-host of Matt Geek Gab, says, he's like, I don't care what seat, anytime we fly together, like we go to CES or whatever, I'm like, do you care? He's like, well, I prefer an aisle, but other than that, he's like, I really don't care. He's like, the only seat that I prefer is the seat up front with the big window in front of it.
Yes.
Because he used to fly 777s for a living
nice.
and flew in the Marines. He flew Harriers in the Marines, which is
that's crazy.
A whole other crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, but yeah, I love flying, like flying a plane. Have you ever flown a plane?
No, I have never done it.
Oh, I recommend it.
Really?
I mean, if you have an interest in it, sign up for what they would call a discovery flight.
Right. Yeah.
I've seen those. And they'll take you up and it's essentially a flight lesson, but they put you in the left seat in the pilot seat, and they take off and land.
That's pretty cool.
You don't know how to do that yet. But they'll give you the controls once they get up and let you kind of play with it and learn, and it's fun.
Yeah. Sounds pretty interesting. That's why.
Yeah, I was up with one with my brother once, and the guy knew that it was not his first discovery flight, so we had some fun. And at one point, we were up at maybe 5,000 feet or something, and he just leans over and kills the engine. The instructor does, and this guy was seasoned, and he's like, well, what do you think about that? And my brother was like, well, he's like, I don't know. He's like, we're still flying. He's like, we're probably losing altitude a little bit. And he's like, exactly. He's like, you don't panic when you lose your engine. He's like, the first thing you do is try to restart it. You want to do that? He's like, yeah, please.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. It is.
It all kind of plays into a topic you had on deck for us.
Hobbies.
Too, Shannon. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, I somehow I turned 61 years old yesterday. And
that's right. Happy birthday. Oh,
thanks.
Yeah.
Somehow it snuck up on me over the last 30 years. I still feel like I'm 30. But one of the things I was thinking about it, and I posted about it on X, and I was looking back and I was thinking, man, I just feel like so fortunate to have continue to live this great life and really different. Yeah. And one of the things that the decisions that I made that allowed me to live this uncommon life is to protect my hobbies and to keep my hobbies, because I looking back, I notice it. At the time, I didn't really,
but you did it. You prioritized your hobbies.
Yes. And there's, we all go through, I think this is especially important for entrepreneurs, because you don't want to wake up one day like I did yesterday and be 61 years old and not have any hobbies because you have focused solely on your business or even your family, and there are times in your life where you totally have to focus on those things 100%, right?
Yes.
You're required to. Your kids are there. You're into everything they're doing. Your business is like pushing you in all different directions. So of course you have to focus on those things. So you're not going to be able to give yourself the time to do maybe every single thing you wanted to do, right? But you can't abandon those hobbies. You can put them aside for a little bit. And the reason I say that is, like, the happiest people I know that are my age, they all have hobbies.
Yep.
Whether it be like you, playing in a band, being involved in music, being involved in theater, all the other things. Whether it's me, I like to fish, I like to hunt. And we're coming up during 3-4 months during the wintertime. I hunt 2 or 3 times a week, and I love it. And it gets me out and it does things. And I remember specifically when my kids were little, I still remember this conversation with my wife. I was like, man, I'm never going to be able to hunt again. And she was like, this is just a phase. We're focused on these kids. We have to, give them all of our attention. Yes, you're not going to be able to do this as much right now, but later you will be able to. And that did, she's a very wise woman, that totally panned out.
Yeah.
So as entrepreneurs, I think it's just, I'm hyper-focused on things I'm working on, and it's easy to let things fall by the wayside and think that your hobby is your business, or you get lots of dopamine.
Well, you
and
can.
all that
I
kind
mean,
of
you
stuff,
can
right?
take your hobbies and turn them into your businesses too, and you did that as well. I want to make sure that because I've done the same thing.
Yeah.
Music is one of my hobbies, and yes, I've turned that into a business as well. I mean, I make money playing music.
Right.
B, I have a podcast for musicians, right? We have a company called Backbeat Media that my partner named, but it was like, well, our CEO is a drummer or whatever. And but the other business that I have is on the Mac side, right? I have Mac
Yes.
Geek Gab. We started Mac Observer. I've always been an Apple fan, and we started businesses with that. You did the same thing with Mac Rescue. Like it let your hobbies feed your business interest, because you need to enjoy some aspect of it. You won't enjoy every aspect of your business life. That's just like, there's going to be parts about it that suck. We talk about that here. In fact, it's most of what we talk about here, because you got to process it and deal with it. But pick something you enjoy, and if it's your hobby, that's okay. Like I am living proof that you can turn your hobbies into businesses and not hate your hobbies.
Yeah, I would say it's like this is two different sides of the same coin, right? Yes,
is.
you can turn your hobbies and monetize them and become businesses. But in my case, I think in the Apple space or the Mac or what, all this kind of thing, how I got into those businesses that we started, I didn't look at them as hobbies anymore. And I often say, if you want to ruin something you love, monetize it, because it's not that it ruined it, but I looked at it in a very different way over the years, right? It changed.
Yes.
And so on the flip side of that coin is once you kind of get to the other side of the daily grind and you have all the flexibility and freedom to make your own decisions, well, I see people wreck it. It's easy to wreck it because you can either get complacent or you don't have passion for something else that maybe you sold your business or whatever, semi-retired or retired. So the hobbies, the things that you love, they can fill in a lot of that life that kind of changes over time, because everything changes, very important.
Of course.
Yeah.
I have a question for you though,
Yes.
because you're no longer in you sold Mac Rescue, you sold Tech Restore, you're not in that world anymore. Do you still pay some amount of attention to Apple that is more than you would? Right. So
absolutely,
your hobby survived you having had a business about it and dispatching with that business. Yeah,
I still follow everything. I don't wait in line to get, whatever.
Of course.
But I'm always reading, what's going on and what's the next
See
thing?
what I mean?
And yeah, for sure.
So
for sure.
It didn't kill it for you.
No,
it
you're
may
right.
have suppressed it for a little while. I noticed that too. Certainly when we were running Mac Observer initially, it was like, this is amazing. Like, you get to do this thing and pay attention. And then after a while, I was like, I am sick and tired of paying this amount of attention to things. And that's really when I changed what I was doing there and started Mac Geek Gab, because
that's pretty good.
I like answering people's questions. I still, 21 years later. Now, I mean, me wanting to help people solve their tech problems predated Mac Geek Gab by 15 years, 20 years. My first career, like when I said as a kid, like if somebody asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? My answer was, I want to be a computer consultant. Now, that was not really a job back then, but it was going to be, and it is now, and that's essentially what we are on Mac Geek Gab. It's implemented in a different way. We're not going to people's homes or anything, but we're helping people solve their problems, and so taking the business and morphing it to match your interests as you move on. I think it's a good thing. Maybe
I do too.
It's kept me in it for long. Well, it's kept me with the business longer than I probably. If I didn't have Mac Geek Gab, I would have sold Mac Observer probably 10 years prior.
Yeah.
Right. So, and maybe that would have been better, maybe worse. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, there were times in my life where I could not even comprehend what it would be like not having this business.
Oh, same.
Like,
oh, yeah.
It was not a part of my reality. And then when you sell one, you realize, okay, I can.
It's okay.
And then it's okay. And that's what we did the episode last week about starting your second business.
Yeah.
You should go back and listen to that because it gives you a whole nother like superpower when you go do it again.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I have a lesson, a business lesson that I learned from one of my hobbies that we will share in a little bit. The next thing that we want to do is we want to tell you about our sponsors for this week. We entrepreneurs have a specific problem at bedtime, right? The business doesn't clock out when we do. So recently, and actually just last night, I tested out SomniPods 3 from our sponsor Fitnexa. These are sleep earbuds, right? And the thing that matters most is that they're flat enough so that I can lie directly on them. I'm a side sleeper, and for me, these stay comfortable with my head on the pillow. I know that that's table stakes for a sleep earbud, and it's important for me to mention that they hit this. But the real prize is that the companion app that comes along with it, the Fitnexa app, is awesome. Genuinely good content, like lots of different options of different things. They've even got some binaural stuff in there if you want to do that, but nature sounds or different white noise, pink noise, all the different things right there. And it's easy to get the sounds you want without fighting a menu at midnight. They also filter out enough of the surrounding noise that I can actually wind down. And here's the bonus I didn't expect. I'm a music nerd, as you know, so I ran my usual earbud test playlist through these purely out of curiosity. These are not like intended to be just music listening headphones, but they sound great. And that's the charmed life, right? Protecting the 8 hours that make the other 16 work. I can see myself using these on especially distracting days and also, obviously, while I travel. And you can too. Fitnexa is giving you, our listeners, $10 off of SomniPods 3. Head to go.fitnexa.com/brain, and the discount applies automatically. You can also use code BRAIN for $10 off. Go check it out, go.fitnexa.com/brain, and code BRAIN for $10 off either way. And our thanks to Fitnexa and SomniPods 3 for sponsoring this episode. And hey, quick question. Do you actually know how many of your passwords are reused across your accounts right now? I mean, we all know that in the early days, we would use the same password everywhere. How many of those have you changed? Have you changed all of them? Right? I didn't. And what won me over with our sponsor Keeper was the migration. Importing everything out of my old password manager was shockingly painless, which is not a sentence I expected to say. And then their reused password detection just handed me a list. Every duplicate right there, embarrassingly so in some ways, but easy to go fix. One of mine had been in continuous service so long, it should be collecting a pension. I'm glad somebody else isn't collecting a pension off of me because I didn't change it. Keeper is a password manager that creates strong, unique passwords for all your accounts, stores them securely in one place, and logs you in automatically across all your devices, so you never have to remember, guess, or worry about getting locked out of your accounts again. Right now, Keeper's offering 60% off personal and family plans at keepersecurity.com/brain. This incredible offer is only available for you podcast listeners. That's keepersecurity.com/brain for 60% off personal and family plans. And if you're running a team at work, check out Keeper's business plans. Just make sure to use our link so they know that we sent you, keepersecurity.com/brain. And our thanks to Keeper for sponsoring this episode. So,
can I make one comment about these Fitnexa?
Oh, yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
The packaging, it was the first packaging I've gotten that reminded me of an Apple experience.
Yeah, it tells a story when you open it up.
Oh, it was amazing. And to your comment about them, the sound when you play music, incredible, dude. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
All right.
super
So
good.
speaking of music, I was on stage on Saturday night. We played this Led Zeppelin Heart tribute thing. We called it Whole Lot of Heart. And we
Okay.
played it at the biggest theater in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, called the Music Hall. The theater holds about 800 people. I'd say we sold about 600 tickets. So there were a lot of people there. It was great. And we've done this thing before. We did it about 18 months ago at a different theater. But for this one, I realized coming into it that the stakes were higher. When we played at this other theater, in my head, now this may not have been true, but it doesn't matter because it was in my head. Played at this other theater, it felt a little safer because everybody, in my mind, that came to that theater, the smaller place, knew that this was a one-off concert for us, that we weren't a going concern as a Led Zeppelin / Heart tribute that plays all the time and rehearses all the time and is perfected and all these things, right? But I knew that moving not too far down the street to the music hall changes those stakes because that place has touring bands through there all the time, and it would be very normal for them to bring in a touring, Led Zeppelin tribute production. I saw Natalie Merchant there not that long ago. I mean, they bring in people. That's their business, right?
Sure.
I mean, I saw Ben Folds there. Like, they bring in artists like that, right? And so I'm thinking, man, there are going to be people here that know the Led Zeppelin drum parts better than me. Like, this is this is objectively true, and there's nothing that I can do in the next 15 minutes before I walk on stage to change this fact. Like, they are already in their seats, and I'm about to go sit in mine, right? And the way I talked myself through that was, well, whereas rehearsed we're going to be, I feel okay about this. And the difference between me and that guy out there is that I'm sitting on stage and he's sitting in the audience, and I've earned my spot on stage. We deserve this. We created this opportunity,
right?
But we did this. Even if he's a better drummer than me, it doesn't matter. Like we're the ones here, and we're going to deliver. And for everybody, and so screw that guy. But for everybody else, please enjoy. Which is fine. Like that, you kind of have to do some of that, right? Plus, this is Led Zeppelin music, and it requires you to be aggressive. And what I found was, once we're on stage, the show's going, any moment where I felt myself being like a little timid about, like, should I, like, I could just play it safe. I realized that is not giving the show these people deserve. Like, Led Zeppelin never played it safe on stage.
Yeah,
they did exactly the opposite of that, right? They did what they wanted to do, and if it didn't land, that was okay, right? And so anytime, and I realized this early on in the gig, thank goodness, and it worked out really well. People had a great time at the show. We had a great time at the show. It was by every measure a phenomenal success. And anytime I felt myself get timid, I would just play some big, huge, bombastic fill in the spirit of John Bonham. And it was like, I can talk about being timid later, but for right now, I cannot be timid. And if I ever notice myself being timid, I'm just going to play through it. Like, I'm going to overplay through it. And that worked. Like, it worked for the crowd loved it because that's what they came to see.
Yeah.
And I loved it because it was like, nope, I'm not going to, I can be timid as long as I want, but at some point, I'm either going to fall off the drum stool or I'm going to deliver. Like, it's one or the other, and I'm not going to let myself crawl into a hole and fall off the drum stool. So it's going to be this way. And it served me very well throughout the gig. And it will probably serve me well through future gigs with any other project. You always kind of learn things. And as I was thinking about this, it was like, this is true in life in general, but for our purposes specifically, in business. There's no benefit to being timid about making decisions. There's no benefit in being timid about taking, chances with your business. There's informed risk, which is what I was doing. I know how to play the drums, right? I have the functional knowledge of how to do this. I can choose not to, or I can choose to. And if it might not work out exactly well, I might drop a stick. Could happen. It's happened before. Definitely going to happen again. Maybe this is the moment. I don't know, but I won't know unless I try this. You know, and that was kind of the meta lesson that I walked away from that gig with, was like, no, it's like anytime you're feeling timid, don't just play the fill, Dave.
Your customers don't want you to be timid.
They definitely don't want you to be.
They
will
want you
go
to
to
solve
somebody
their
else.
problems. Yeah, they want their problem solved, and they want somebody who's confident in solving their problems. And that's huge.
Communicate confidence. Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. Yeah,
that's huge.
And it's communicating confidence in two directions, right? You know, it's that whole fake it till you make it kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
You're communicating confidence to your customers and also to yourself. Like, you're both getting the same lesson out of this. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you will fail. One of the best things that happened on that gig was we as a band. I mean, the first, I'll call it big error. I'm sure we were all making little errors because that's just how it goes. The first big error was our singer. He sang through a guitar solo that he should not have sung through. But what it did was it made the band all like get out of our heads of like just playing through the music like we know it to go. It was like, oh, nope. Now we all need to pay attention to each other. And that was great. It served us well for the rest of the night. But it was one of those things where it was like, you know what? We can make mistakes. We're all going to. He made the first one.
Yeah.
He didn't make the last one. Let me tell you that. You know, we all owned our parts in this. And it was fine. Like, you know, you just make it through. You just keep going.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's huge. I agree. Is that being timid and overthinking it, you know, it's, you're just better off. You just got to go for it.
Just go for it.
You know, that's what your clients want. They want you to clear the path, solve the problem, provide the solution, whatever it is, and not be timid. Yeah.
And this lesson, and I'm certainly not the first person to share this lesson. It's not the first time I've heard this lesson, but sometimes you implement it in a way that resonates, and it's like, oh, now I understand this. You know, that I'm reminded of there's a scene in it's a wonderfully stupid movie, We're the Millers, with Jason Sudeikis, and he's like trying to teach this younger kid guy, you know, how to like approach girls, you know, and he's like, anytime I'm nervous, like what I do is I just count to 3 real fast, and then I just go do it, because I can overthink it and I can stay in my head forever. But instead, I think he was talking about like kissing a girl or something. And he's like, what I do instead is I just go 1, 2, 3, and then I kiss him. Like, that's it. Nice. Like, it's going to happen. And it's the same thing. It's just,
that's right.
You know, it's just do it.
And 80% of the time, maybe more, it's going to turn out in your favor.
Just fine. Yeah. You know what you're like, you already have all the information. Stop thinking about it. Just do it.
Yeah. The biggest competitor is inside your head. That's for sure.
Every single time. Yeah, man. That's it.
Awesome. Yep. Good lesson. I like it.
It was a good lesson on stage. It was served me well on Saturday, and it has served me well since. Yeah,
that's good. What's the big takeaway for this episode?
Man, I mean, it's you know, if we distill it down, it's the importance of protect your hobbies. I liked that efficient way of saying it, and also just do it.
Yeah,
play the fill, Dave. Like,
don't be timid.
Yes. Don't be timid. Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
I don't know which one's more important. I like, my life is impacted by both of those in positive ways.
I'm going to choose hobbies just because I brought it up, but I don't know. They are both super important. I think probably for your business.
I think for your business, it's
second one.
Don't be timid. Yeah.
Don't be timid. Yeah. I think don't be timid is the big takeaway. And we're going to dig into that more in our business blueprint that we do after every episode. And you can download that at businessbrain.show/blueprint. It'll be up there. What day is today? Today's Monday when we're recording. So it'll be up there on Wednesday. And when you hear this, love to see it.
Amazing. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Make sure to check that out. businessbrain.show/blueprint. And keep living that charmed life. We will see you on Friday for Friday Eye.
See ya.